continue to follow efforts in Chicopee to make it safer for pedestrians after 5 people died since October after they were hit by cars.
Now city leaders are focused on new safety measures. Western Mass News reporter Glenn Kittle joins us live in studio with what's being discussed. Glenn?
Chris and Mary, among those safety measures, new signs, flashing lights, and even installing medians in high traffic areas. Proposed new measures to keep pedestrians safe in Chicopee discussed at the City Council's Public Safety Committee meeting Thursday night. This after 5 pedestrians have lost their lives after being hit by cars on city streets in the past 5 months. Among the plans, new lighting fixtures, signs, medians, and even turning part of Old Lyman Road, which is a one-way street, into a 2-lane road. The residents who live on the street say expanding their road will only increase the amount of traffic in their neighborhood.
The problem is the traffic, the 450 cars a day that would go by my house.
Also addressed high traffic roads in Chicopee, such as Chicopee, Stedman, and Meadow Streets, where multiple pedestrian accidents have occurred, some of them fatal. Money for sidewalks and medians to cut down on crashes was also discussed. Chicopee's Department of Public Works Superintendent Elizabeth Batista says they're working fast to put those projects out to bid and bring those safety projects to fruition.
We actually don't pave typically after November 15th. And contractors shut down in the wintertime. We don't have control over that. So the engineering department's been working on putting together a project that's going to be going out to bid shortly so that we can do this big safety project, and then it's going to take time.
In the meantime, until the project is up and running, Chicopee is still relying on law enforcement to crack down on reckless drivers going down Chicopee Street. In a statement sent to Western Mass News, Chicopee Police Public Information Officer Travis Odian says, quote, "Our department has increased enforcement of crosswalk violations throughout the city with added patrols utilizing overtime funds that the chief has approved. We are currently running a specialized patrol with the use of grant money, also targeting crosswalk violations." Police also urge both drivers and pedestrians to always be alert and aware of their surroundings in order to stay safe on roads. Reporting live in the studio, Glenn Kittle, Western Mass News.